Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Right Path, where authors know that every page is a step forward. This is a new podcast created by myself. My name is Rory Paquette. I have six podcasts altogether, and I've been doing this for quite a while. The one category of folks that I have not been able to, until now, help directly has been authors. And that's been a point of contention for me for a while. It's something I've really wanted to reach out and do. I only just now finally have the ability to do that and to take what I've learned in podcasting and start this new podcast focused on helping authors, of course, get the word out about our books because that's very, very important. It's one of the things that we do as authors is we come on podcasts and we guest and we tell our stories, right? But the other thing that I want to make sure I'm doing here is that I'm not just giving you, the author, the same seven questions that you get every time you go on a podcast. Oh, hey, so looks like you wrote a book. That's great. So what made you want to write a book? We've all been asked that a million times. As podcasters, we've probably all asked that question a billion times, right? Um, we don't want to go down the normal path because as an author myself, I understand that there's a process. I understand that there's a whole lot more that goes on behind the scenes. I know that there's a lot more in your heart and in your soul when you're writing a book, especially today. Let's look at the landscape of what, we deal with as authors, right? We have to decide once we get the book done, we have to decide if we're going to self-publish, everything that goes along with that. Are we going to go ahead and try to get a publisher, right? And go the way of a booking agent and so on and so forth. Are we going to try one of the various hybrid folks out there? There are folks who are sort of hybrid and maybe do some artwork and maybe a little editing, but they don't really help you publish. The menu, you can go full service, you can go full meal deal, you can go a la carte, you can go bare bones. But there's a billion things you have to think of, and that's after you've written the book, right? Folks, I've been there, sitting there at the computer, um, staring at the screen saying, all right, it's time to write today. I need to get my 1,000 words in for the day, right? I've got to hit my quota so I can keep this book on track. And I know what it's like to stare at that screen and come up empty. I also know what it's like to have that moment where you go, whoa, I've got it. I've got this idea. I've got this thing. Man, I got to get to my computer. And you run over and you just start tapping away and typing, and you don't even care about the spelling. You're just so excited and it's just pouring out of you, into the keyboard and onto the screen. And, you don't care if there's typos or bad grammar because you know you're going to figure it out later when you go back and edit, but you're just crushing it, right? And I know the exhilaration that comes with that. I know what it's like to make progress like that and to tell your story. I know what that feels like. Folks, I've interviewed so many authors across my various podcasts that I have on so many different topics. And there are a few things that we all have in common. The first thing is that we all have something in us, something from our past, something from our own history that has driven us in some way to want to write a book, to want to write this book that you're writing, and to want to write the book for whatever reason it is that we're writing it for, right? That's something that we all have in common. I think it's safe to say. On this show, I encourage authors to come on here and not just talk about their book, but to talk about their past, to talk about what it was that happened to them, what they experienced, what they learned, what they saw, what they lived through, what they dreamed of. What is it that made you want to write this book? Yeah, we're going to go deeper than that. It's why. Okay, it's not just what was it. It's why did it happen, and what is it doing for you, and questions like that. I want to answer the question of who are you writing this book to? Who are you writing this book for? I ask that question in my regular podcast that I have to authors, and I get more often than not that they've never actually been asked that question before. Wow, Rory, nobody's ever really asked me who I wrote the book to. you know, Maybe it takes someone who's written a book to come up with that question. I don't know. Okay, but that's one. Okay, is that we have that in common for sure. The second thing that we have in common as authors across the board, whether you're fiction, nonfiction, whatever it is, you have some sort of passion for wanting to get your idea onto the printed page. We can get our ideas out all over the place right now, folks. We can get them out on social media in many, many ways. There's 100 million different platforms. We can do podcasting to get it out there. We can, do all sorts of other things to get our ideas, our stories, and everything out to the public. But there's something special. There's something that comes from just deep within us that wants to put that story in print on the printed page. And as authors, I think all of us, whether we want to admit it or not, look, ebooks are great. Okay, they're efficient. They're inexpensive. You can use them for all sorts of different uses. But is there anything that really? Let me grab one of them here. Is there anything, honestly, that really compares to how it feels to just have that book in your hand, to have that bound paper in your hand, and know that you're the one who wrote it? For those of you who have written a book, have you had the joy of holding the book in your hand, smelling what the pages smell like, feeling the parchment, the paper, the cover? I don't care how old you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care whether you love ebooks and whether you love audiobooks. There's just something different about that printed page. Maybe you don't feel that way. Hey, I'm just telling you this is how I feel. And I think that a lot of us have that in common. Because to sit down and take on the endeavor of writing a book is a separate kind of journey. Um, any of you who have done this, and I don't care if you published, through a publisher, if you hybrid did it, if you did it self-publishing, I don't care how you got it done. But if you're someone who got it done, you're special. You are an author. And that still means something in today's world. Okay? The third thing that I think all of us as authors have in common, and that I want to make sure we're promoting on this show, is that, there is a place and a time for technology. There is a way that technology can help us. We all love the spell check. I'm sure that AI can assist in some ways. But the idea of sitting down and churning out heartless, soulless publications through AI makes my heart break. As soon as I pick up a book, within a page or two, I can already tell if it's got heart. I can tell if it's an AI. I can tell if it's, from someone, from a person. And AI is getting better. There are some, AI programs that are really, really good. And sometimes it takes a minute. But when you read a book, when you're holding it in your hand, you're reading that book, you know, you either feel the heart that's in it, you feel the soul that wrote it, or you don't. I'm not in favor of what's happened to the publishing industry. I'm not in favor of, Chat GPT taking over for authors and churning out material, because it sounds great and they've been able to grab, notes from all over the internet. Folks, a book is personal. A book comes from your heart. It comes from your soul. The act of sitting down and writing it is so incredible. It means so much to us as authors that it needs to be celebrated. And so I want to have a show where people come on here and they are celebrated, and they celebrate the process of writing the book. They celebrate the heart and the soul that went into writing the book. Folks, when you come on our show, I want to hear about your journey. I want to hear about the sleepless nights. I want to hear about staring at the blank screen. I want to hear about why you wrote it, but I also want to hear about who you wrote it for, who you wrote it to. I want to know what that picture looked like in your mind when you were writing those words, who you were actually speaking with. I want to know what you hope to accomplish by writing this book. Because let's be honest, most of us are not churning out books and writing them so that we can, quote, make money and get rich. Okay. Now you can write a book and make money. There are great ways to do that. I've written two books. One of them I made very little. One of them I did very well. But neither of them were written for the purpose of making money. And I think a lot of us feel that way when we put that out there. The book is the new business card, and it always has been. It always has been. That's not fair. It has been for years. Let's put it that way. Um, if you are an independent business person, if you own your own business, if you're an independent contractor, you need to have your own podcast. You need to have your own book. If you want to be taken seriously in the world, if you want people to know that you're an up-and-comer, if you want them to know that you're at the top of your profession and you don't have a book and you don't have your own podcast, well, then you are suffering behind all of the people who do. We all have a reason to write the book. We all have something that's stirring inside of us that puts it out there. But for the authors who really and truly understand that every page is another step. It's another step in their development. It's another step in their journey. It's another step in their lives. For those folks, I have created this podcast. The Right Path is all about, quite literally, finding our own right path. The caption says, where authors know that every page is a step forward. That's vitally important here. It's not just words. It's our heart, it's our soul, it's our love. It's something that matters greatly to all of us. If you feel this way about the book you've written, I want to have you on my show. I hope that you will come on our podcast, that you will share your book, you will share your mission, your vision, and you will share your journey, and you will open up and share your heart. Because let me tell you something, when people get to hear why you wrote it and who you wrote it for, when people get to connect with you as the author, man, they're going to love your book that much more. Folks, I look forward to talking to all of you. I look forward to hearing all kinds of things about all kinds of books. And I'm really excited to be able to finally do this. I hope you will join me. I hope you'll, hop on board and let's make this happen together. Folks, The Right Path, where authors know that every page is a step forward. Join us. You're worth it.